Hitting, kicking, scratching, biting, pinching, slapping, profanities, homicidal threats, property destruction, self-injury, and tantrums. These are all different types of aggression that you will see. Let's talk about tantrums for a second. Tantrums happen with neurotypical kids and non-neurotypical kids, right? Should you treat them differently in the sense of how you treat the tantrum? What do you think? So, well, let's say, well, I'll walk you through an example a little bit later, but I want you to think about this for a second. How often do you hear or see this? Because a child has autism, we have to be careful on how we treat them. Pretty common, isn't it?
I hear them a lot,
Yeah, pretty common. The challenge with that is this. Autism is a neurological, social, communicative disorder. Autism is not tantruming, and we confuse that. Remember, a tantrum, regardless of what the pathology is, has a functional purpose. There's a necessity to why it exists. If it were only autism, would animals fight? Would birds fight? Would neurotypical people fight? No, because that's only autism. Does that make sense? Keep that in mind because we cross those boundaries a lot. Aggression is a communicative need that you will see. Let's say you and I were really great friends, right? And we were at a social gathering and a friend says a joke about you and you're kind of like, I don't like that. Is that aggression? Absolutely it is. Why is it aggression? There you go. I made contact. If I didn't appreciate or like the context in which I was put in that scenario and I physically touched her and pushed her, non-verbally, what am I telling her? Don't do that. But in our circle, the neurotypical circle, what is it looked at? Oh, that was funny. That was good. In the developmental disability circle, what would it be diagnosed as? Very aggressive. Very aggressive. True or false? True. Look at the function of the behavior. Remember, aggression isn't autism, and we connect them all the time. Now, individuals with autism use aggression 2 to 3 times more than the average person does as a communicative function. Here's a silver lining. All behavior has a reason. All of it. It's about being able to predict the behavior and understand it. If you went home today and your husband or your wife said, hey, I have a surprise for you. And you're like, okay. You remember that item that you've been wanting for a long time? Whatever it may be. You're like, yeah, I bought it for you. What? Really? Yeah, I bought it for you. Why? Because you went to a conference today and you're making yourself better. And I love that. That gets me so excited to be with you. The fact that you're investing in yourself. How many of you would look to see when the next conference is? It's a function, right? There's a reason for it. There's what they call the motivating operation. There's an MO. All of a sudden, there's value in going to the conference. Not only do I learn, but I get a little something extra at home that I've been wanting for some time. There's motivation. If you do this long enough with an individual, you can begin to predict behavior. How many of you guys run red lights? Okay, a couple of us. All right, there we go. I love it. How many of you run green lights? That's a weird statement, right? Doesn't make sense. How many of you have ever received a ticket for running a red light? How many of you now, when you run that light, you're kind of like, okay, no cop, no stop. All right, here we go. Here we go. However, you process before you do it. It's the same thing as predicting. It's evident once you find the function. So let's change our brain. The most important consideration to make when observing and addressing challenging behaviors is not to allow your beliefs or desires to drive your decision making. Here's what I mean. Met a family once, and mom and dad, we sat down and we started working through the issue with their son. And they said, look, I think my son's really, really depressed. And because of that, doesn't come out, doesn't want to eat dinner with us, doesn't want to be involved at all. When we're out and about, he's fine. But when we're at home, wants nothing to do with us. I think he might even be suicidal. I don't know. So we looked at the projection of what mom and dad had said was going on, and then we asked them, can we do a functional assessment? Let's see what the behavior does. So they said, sure. Whatever that means, let's do it. So we went into his room, looked around, okay? We went into the rest of the house, looked around, and guess what we found? The light bulbs in his room were different than the light bulbs in the rest of the house. The light bulbs in the rest of the house were a higher wattage with higher flicker percentage. The bulbs in his room had a lower wattage with less flicker percentage. By the way, if you have any type of visual stem and you have autism, when you look at lights like this, they flicker like strobe lights. So a lot of individuals have difficulties like going to Walmart and so forth because they have high flicker rates, so they have to wear glasses. You ever see anybody, you're like, why are you wearing glasses inside? They may have that, so that's why you see it. So we asked mom and dad, this is going to be a really weird experiment, but let's try this. So we changed all the bulbs in the house. Guess who came to dinner that night? Wasn't depressed, wasn't reclusive, wasn't suicidal, just couldn't stand the lights. That simple. But it was finding the function of why that behavior was not taking place that made the entire change of his world. And they're like, well, wow, now it makes sense. We go to Walmart, and he's like, nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. We go to Ruby Tuesdays to have burgers. Nope, not interested. Because then we go like to a really nice Italian restaurant, wants to go all the time. What's the difference? Something as simple as that. So looking at the functions, and be careful with putting your own predictions into the functions, because a lot of the times we may think, ooh, I've seen this before, and I know exactly what it is. Remember, even individuals that have autism are still individuals. They're all different. They all have different interests. They all have different quirks, just like we do. They're no different from that capacity. When addressing and observing challenging behavior, the behavior should be considered an individual entity regardless of emotion, intrinsic thoughts, or diagnosis. It's really tough to wrap our mind around this. All right, so the individual has autism, oppositional defiant disorder, they have obsessive compulsive disorder, and I don't know what to do with them. Which one do you focus on? Where do you start?
Just observing.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's where you start.
Somebody give her a high five, please. Somebody give her a high five. Just observing. So a lot of us will get caught up into the mindset, okay, let me go look up ODD, let me go look up OCD, let me go look up AU, figure out what all this is, you know, get the diagnosis, go find treatments, and then we come out with a treatment plan that is 20, 35 pages long. Okay, we got to do all these things. Well, a lot of people don't realize that ODD and OCD are maskings of autism. Think of some of the repetitive behaviors that you see with individuals that have autism. What does that look like if no one's ever told you you have autism? OCD. Oppositional defiant disorder. Well, they hit people all the time. Can they communicate? Well, we've tried a PEC system. That didn't work. We tried sign language. That didn't work. Okay, what else have you done? Well, that was all we knew how to do. So, they're just aggressive. So they're oppositional and defiant because they don't listen to the teacher. They don't listen to us. Does it make sense? Look at the function of the behavior. What are they doing? What is the purpose of that behavior? What does it serve? Once you understand what it serves, then you're getting to the true core function of what it actually is. The mechanism that keeps behavior going. All right, tough question. Let's be real here for a second, real. Raise your hand if you're trying to lose weight. All right, so Monday morning comes along, we're trying to lose weight, right? And you're doing a great job. We're eating salads, we're drinking water, we even get some lemon for our water. Life is good. Tuesday comes along, what are we doing? God, my pants already fit loose. It's like, well, those are stretchy pants, but all right, that's cool. So it's okay, we're feeling good. Tuesday comes, you're doing really great. So Wednesday comes, and in the office, it's Enchilada Wednesday. Dude, and if you go today, they have the Border Patrol special with a little bit of fajitas on the side. And you're thinking, all right, I committed to doing this. I said no, so I was good Monday, I was good Tuesday. I'm going to go with you guys, but I'm going to have a salad. Cool, come along. So you come along, right? You're there, you're having a salad, or you order your salad, and you're sitting there going, can I just have one enchilada on the side? Ever happened to anyone before? Why did we do that? Why is it so hard to say, I can't stop eating what I shouldn't be eating and eat the other stuff?
Because the other stuff's so good. The bad stuff's good.
The bad stuff is good, right? So the reinforcement value of the bad stuff is delicious. I mean, who doesn't want a good, juicy beef fajita taco with guacamole, sour cream, and cheese on it? Wow. I promise you I had lunch, I promise. But you think about that, and then you think, or you can have 4 carrot sticks. You decide. It's almost punitive, The interesting part about this, though, is this. As you make your decision on what you want, it becomes easy to predict, and we all have friends that do this. Hey, I'm on a diet. And quietly amongst ourselves, when we get in the car with our husbands and wives, they're like, they'll be on a different diet next week, you watch. And then the week after, then the week after. And it becomes predictable behavior because the motivating operation, the MO behind those foods are 10 times stronger than the MO behind salad. When somebody gets physically aggressive and you react in a capacity that that person gets what they need based off of that aggression, you are raising that MO. You're creating a higher level of motivation for them to continue to become aggressive. Here's something I want you guys to really remember. There's what we call an extinction burst. An extinction burst is this. When you are actually working with an individual and you decide whether it's your own family member or somebody else, regardless of pathology, this is it. We are not doing this anymore. We're done. Today is it, period. I am no longer accepting this behavior from you. So you draw your line in the sand, right? So the individual knows if that line is drawn and this is the level of intensity that I need to have in order to get what I want, what am I going to do to the level of intensity? You got it. I'm going to raise it. So as I raise that level of intensity, if I don't hold that ground and eventually I give in, and this is a very common one, you're grounded for a week. Here comes Tuesday. Okay, fine, you've been good, go. If that intensity increases and you don't continue to stand your ground, what should you expect the next time you draw that line in the sand? Where should the intensity be? Significantly higher. So you've taken this behavior now And because you didn't follow through, now that level of behavior is up here. The complication with that is when we start introducing medication. Because a lot of people don't understand attachment disorder. I took my child off of this med, it's been a week, and they are worse. Remember, it takes time to process that out, and it also takes time to stabilize behavior. We are actually setting the criteria for aggression and don't even realize it. We have to be careful with that. That individual that punched me in the face, we went back every day for 4 hours to see that individual that week. And he punched, and he hit, and he punched. Because we stuck with it, he began to realize it doesn't matter how much I hit, how much I punch, I still did not get to change the channel. So what we did is we replaced it with a simple little card. Every time he punched, nothing happened. I handed him the card, he took the card, I switched the channel. He would hit, forget about the card, I'd hand him the card, switch the channel. So now, what happens at home is we leave the card by the coffee table. Dad comes and switches it. Now he goes, gets the card, and gives it to Dad, instead of Dad getting punched. Much better. But you have to go through that extinction burst in order to get there. That's the hardest part about dealing with aggression. Most people are either afraid of going through it or have raised the value so high that the intensity for success is going to be very, very difficult unless you stick through it all the way. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen an individual, regardless of the pathology, that is very, very aggressive? And then you watch the family member and you look at the way the family member reacts and becomes completely submissive? That's why. I can promise you maybe a year to 2 years prior to, that aggression was very subtle, but it's been trained to become more and more aggressive.